Yesterday, Joe Biden delivered remarks at the White House. Two major developments, or I guess big pieces of news in terms of the response by the international community to what's going on with the Russian invasion of Ukraine. One is that Poland has, I don't know, I think it's almost close to 24 MiG fighters, Ukraine Army, or I guess Air Force, trained on MiG fighters. So to get them, you know, American built fighters doesn't make any sense. Poland has almost 24 MiG fighters that they essentially want to give to the Ukrainians. The problem is Poland doesn't want to send them directly from Poland, because then it can be taken by Russia as a Polish participation in the conflict. Poland wanted to send them to an American air base to then send them to Ukraine. America does not want to be seen as participating. And I think these are good reasons, because we don't want to expand or give Russia an excuse to expand the war to include the U.S. or NATO, both because we don't want World War III and because it diminishes pressure on domestic pressure on Putin if he can make the argument that the U.S. is actually involved in this, or, you know, NATO. So they're trying to figure out, apparently Kamala Harris is headed there with, I would imagine, a lot of military people, trying to figure out how they can get these planes to Ukraine without, I don't know how they do that. Maybe they just pretend somebody comes in and steals them. Maybe you just get like, isn't this where like some you know, tough guys on like on Fox News go and they say they're going to steal some jets? Where's Mike Bongino, whatever that guy's name is? Why doesn't Bongino get a crew of people like Kevin Sorbo and get a whole crew of like, you know, tough misfits and go over and steal the MiG jets and fly them into Ukraine? Here's Joe Biden announcing the other response by the international community. This is, it's going to increase the price of gas in this country. It's an international market. It'll mean it'll create greater demand on other suppliers. But here is, but we are also just, I think, a couple of weeks away from OPEC's deal to diminish production over the past 2 years, in which case we may see them increase production. Although my understanding is that Saudi Arabia is not answering the phone because they're still mad that Joe Biden doesn't appreciate the guy who chopped up a journalist being the head of their country. But here is Biden speaking about a ban on Russian fossil fuel import.
We're banning all imports of Russian oil and gas and energy. That means Russian oil will no longer be acceptable at U.S. ports, and the American people will deal another powerful blow to Putin's war machine. This is a move that has strong bipartisan support in Congress and, I believe, in the country. Americans have rallied to support their Ukrainian people and made it clear we will not be part of subsidizing Putin's war. We made this decision in close consultation with our allies and our partners around the world, particularly in Europe, because a united response to Putin's aggression has been my overriding focus, to keep all NATO and all of the EU and our allies totally united. We're moving forward with this ban, understanding that many of our European allies and partners may not be in a position to join us. The United States produces far more oil domestically than all the European countries combined. In fact, we're a net exporter of energy. So we can take this step when others cannot. But we're working closely with Europe and our partners to develop a long-term strategy to reduce their dependence on Russian energy as well. Our teams are actively discussing how to make this happen, and today we remain united. We remain united in our purpose to keep pressure mounting on Putin and his war machine.
The administration has done a good job, I think, in maintaining, some semblance of cohesion amongst all the allies here. And to be clear, this is a good example of why the idea of us upping production would drop prices. Because we're already selling oil and natural gas. We're exporting it already as a country. The bottom line is, when you hear people talk about increasing U.S. oil production or natural gas as a way of dealing with a situation like this, they're implying this is a national security issue. Americans are paying more money. And in that instance, your response should be, I agree, which is why we should be nationalizing all of these things. They should not be in private hands, because in private hands, what's going to happen is those private entities that are selling and exporting whatever fossil fuel they're exporting, they're going to say, well, you're going to have to pay me more money if I'm not going to meet that contract over there, and I'm going to meet the contract domestically. You're going to pay me more money. Okay, we'll pay you more money. What should happen is we should nationalize every interest that we have in this country, of every drop of oil that is being extracted, every bit of coal that's being extracted, every bit of natural gas that is being extracted. In fact, all of our energy should all be nationalized. You're going to see the behavior of a lot of people in Congress change very quickly if that were the case. It would change a lot of things. But if someone's going to push the argument, we need to drill more because it's a national security issue, then the obvious response is, then we should nationalize it. It is national security. We should nationalize it.